This week on Zero Day Sense Nonsense, somebody found a new productivity tool. It summarizes meetings, writes follow-up emails, and connects to the company's Microsoft 365 account. But did IT approve it? No. Did security review it? Also no. But it had a free trial, and the website said enterprise, and it saved somebody 3 hours on Tuesday. So naturally, the entire department's going to use it now. Welcome to Shadow IT, where employees find their own technology because the approved process is too slow, the official tool doesn't solve the problem, or nobody realized there was a problem until somebody fixed it themselves. And on top of that, we've added AI now. The old version of Shadow IT was just an unapproved app sitting quietly in the browser tab. The new version can read company data, write content, connect to business systems, and take actions on somebody's behalf. We've given the mystery software initiative. Wonderful! Shadow IT sounds like employees are running a secret underground technology department, but it's usually less dramatic. Somebody has a frustrating process, they find a tool online, and it helps them get their work done. There's no evil plan, they're just trying to finish before 5. And that's why this is such a problem. The employee may have found something that's genuinely useful, but the business may not find out the tool exists until it's holding customer information or quietly becoming part of an important workflow. And Shadow AI makes this even harder to see because there may be nothing to install. You open a website, paste in some text, and you get an answer. It feels temporary, feels harmless, but the moment the company information goes in, the business has created a new data flow whether anybody documented it or not. Before the answer becomes block everything, there are 2 questions that are worth asking here. What problem was the employee trying to solve? And what data or access did the tool receive? These questions matter far more than the word unapproved ever will. And I'm sure everyone's familiar with security team's favorite saying, don't use unapproved tools. And what that sounds like is, please continue using the terrible process we gave you. Shadow IT usually grows in the gap between what people actually need and what the company provides. Maybe an employee spends half an hour copying information from emails into a spreadsheet. They find a browser extension that does it automatically, boom! The extension works, their morning gets easier, then a temporary workaround becomes part of the job. A week turns into a year, and eventually the whole department depends on something that belongs to one employee's account. That's the actual risk. It's not simply that somebody skipped the approval process, it's that the tool became important without anybody deciding who owns it, what information belongs there, or what happens when it stops working. The unapproved app isn't always the original problem. Sometimes it's the evidence that an approved process failed first. And on top of that, AI makes the invisible part bigger. Traditional Shadow IT usually leaves some kind of footprint. There may be installed software, a recurring charge, or an account somebody eventually notices, but Shadow AI can live entirely inside of a browser. And employees don't think, I'm introducing a new third-party service into our data environment. They're thinking, I'm asking a chatbot to improve this customer email. Then they paste in the conversation, the AI gives them a polished answer in 10 seconds, and the employee sees it as a useful shortcut. But security sees customer information moving into a service nobody reviewed. Both perspectives are real. The problem gets bigger when the AI tool connects directly to company systems. An assistant with access to a shared drive isn't just a website anymore. It's another identity inside the business with whatever permission somebody granted it. And that's a lot of trust for something discovered during lunch. Now, imagine this. Somebody signs up for an AI meeting assistant. It records calls, it produces summaries, everybody likes it, so people stop taking their own notes. 6 months later, the employee who created the account leaves. Now the business discovers that years of meeting history belong to an account nobody else controls. The tool itself may be legitimate, and it may even be secure, but the problem is the company never managed it like a business system because nobody noticed when it became one. This is especially easy in small businesses. The owner's focused on customers, payroll, and keeping everything moving. Nobody's maintaining a perfect catalog of every website an employee tries. So the software stack grows by accident. Eventually, the business depends on a collection of tools that were each supposed to be temporary. The technology environment starts looking less like an intentional system and more like a garage where everybody brought their own custom extension cord. And on top of that, modern apps make access feel harmless. You click continue with Microsoft, approve a permission screen, and then the app just starts working. Those permissions are simply the things that the app is allowed to read or do. That screen may be granting access to email, files, or the ability to act on your behalf. Now add AI agents and automation. An employee connects a tool to a shared mailbox so it can summarize incoming requests. Later, they let it draft and send replies. At that point, they haven't just adopted an app, they've created a small automated employee with access to a business communication channel. Except this employee has no manager, no onboarding record, and no offboarding plan. The more useful a tool becomes, the more access people want to give it. An AI assistant with no information can't do much, but one with broad access can do quite a lot. And unfortunately, quite a lot is also a security category. And the obvious response is to block every unapproved tool. That sounds really clean, but in reality, it can push behavior even further underground. When the employees believe the answer will always be no, they stop asking. Then the business has even less visibility than it had before. The better approach is giving people a fast, safe way to say, I found something that could help. Can we check it? The review should match the risk. A tool used to brainstorm public marketing content doesn't need the same level of scrutiny as one connected to payroll. For most tools, the business can start with these 3 questions. What information will go into it? What systems can it access? And who owns it if the employee leaves? This won't catch every problem, but it'll catch far more than just pretending that the tool doesn't exist. And now that I've sufficiently shined the light on Shadow AI and Shadow IT, it's time for this week's recurring segment, Things Security Says. First up, this application hasn't been approved. What everyone hears is, security has arrived to take away the things that are useful. What security actually means is, we'd like to know where customer data is going before the entire department starts using it. Next, don't paste sensitive information into public AI tools. What everyone hears is, you're not allowed to use AI for anything helpful. What security actually means is, please don't upload information the business is responsible for protecting into a random text box. And finally, we need an inventory of our applications. What everyone hears is, security wants another spreadsheet nobody's going to update. What security actually means is, it'd be nice to know which services the business depends on before one of them disappears. We're not trying to stop people from solving problems. We'd just like for the solution to remain available after Brenda leaves accounting. Okay, but seriously. Shadow AI and Shadow IT aren't problems you solve with just one policy. They're signals that people need something. Start by finding out what employees are using and why. Don't lead with punishment. If somebody found a tool that saves hours a week, that's useful information. The answer may be to approve it or move the account under company control. Give employees a short list of AI tools that they can use and explain what information is allowed in them. Make the rule specific. Use AI responsibly means absolutely nothing to the average user. People need to know whether customer records, employee information, source code, or internal documents are allowed. Review the permissions connected apps receive. Make sure important tools have a business owner. And when somebody leaves, remember to offboard the apps and automations they created, not just their email account. The goal isn't perfect control. The goal is knowing where important information goes and who can access it. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of 0 Days Since Nonsense. The key takeaways from this episode were Shadow IT isn't really about rogue employees. Most of the time, it's just people trying to do their jobs with the fastest tools they can find. Shadow AI is the same problem, but with more speed, more access, and more company information moving through systems the business may not even know exists. The answer isn't banning every new tool. It's about making the safe path easier than the secret path. Give people useful options. Make reviews fast. Set clear rules around company data. And keep track of the tools the business depends on. Because the worst time to discover an entire department runs on an unapproved AI platform is after the account owner quits and the free trial ends. And that's it for this week's 0 Days Since Nonsense. The audience question for this episode is, what's the most useful piece of software you've seen become part of the workplace without anybody officially approving it? If you enjoyed this episode, like, comment, subscribe, and until next time, keep an eye on that free trial quietly becoming critical infrastructure.